So, see, I just feel weird because I keep saying this.
8 minutes ago, the whole sun blew up and we're all dead.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. At any given time, we can
You're
find out
welcome.
that the sun blew up 8 minutes ago because that's how long it takes the light to reach the earth. So, but the reason that was brought up was because, when people were like, oh, life is short, you got to be happy, blah, blah, blah. And, that's where my mind goes. But I was talking to Aaron about that yesterday. And the thing that I told him, going back to the conversation, Gabby and Joz, that we have had regarding like me being miserable, is that like, I don't want to get up and go to work thinking I don't want to do this and not make it home knowing that all I did that day was something I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
I get that.
Mm-hmm. So
that's heavy. It's like,
it is, but you asked what I take from it, and that's what it is.
But you know what? It's a reality that so many people go through on a daily basis. Like I'll be the first one to admit too, even with my own job, I was at that point too. Like, gosh, I do not want to be doing this today. Like, I don't want to go into work and talk to these people I don't like. That's a reality for a lot of people. So,
and not just about jobs, like about like lives in general. Like, how many people are in like bad marriages that they're stuck? How many people are doing things in life that they don't want to do? They feel like they're obligated to do so for whatever reason. So yeah, but this whole like life is short thing can get out of hand. I feel like if you apply it to like things like life is short, I'm going to do things that make me happy. But I can also be like, life is short, I'm going to eat this whole cake.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
You have to have limitations.
Correct. So I feel like there needs to be like, certain like boundaries around that life is short thing.
But I think like what we've learned in like the last like few years, which is like what has brought us all together, is that we've realized that we've slowed down enough and realized that there are places in our life that we are not happy, and there's places where we can improve and we have control over improving our lives, which is one of the reasons why we all got into voiceover for one reason or another. And that's how we all found each other, by training at the voice actor studio. And we're all at like different places and, in this voiceover journey. And it's exciting to see each one of you guys like grow and develop and, change gears and do something different like Frankie, and it's fun to see Lloyd, getting ready to, possibly do his demo pretty soon. And it's exciting to hear about you, Angela, like talking about a couple gigs coming up, even though you're sick, It happens that way every time. I swear to God.
Every time.
And Gabby and I are like kind of in the same spot. We're just getting our voiceover journey with our demos underneath our belts going, so
we're barely starting.
Yeah. We're doing it, right? Yeah. So if the sun blows up 7 minutes,
if the sun blew up 7 minutes ago,
are we happy?
At this point in time, on this call, yes.
I mean, today, yes.
Yes.
In 12 hours, we revisit that.
Yeah, exactly.
12 hours. Give it 2 hours.
I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm like, I don't want to get up and go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, I get it.
That's true.
But I do think that's a great point that, we really need to focus on the moment at hand. We got to focus on, this is the happy point right now. We're in a happy moment. Let's take it and breathe it in and keep it as happy as possible and try not to dread the Mondays or the Tuesdays or whatever is going to happen in the next couple of days. You really got to be present in the moment a lot more often.
And remember that you keep working on yourself. Every single little baby step is a point for yourself.
Absolutely.
Exactly. All those baby steps are going to add up to something big, right?
Yeah. Eventually. It doesn't look like much now, but eventually.
But honestly, if you think about where you were, in 2019 compared to where you are now, we've made some steps already. You got to think of that too.
That's true.
Even though we're not like on the role of like our coaches yet, but we've made some moves. We've made a couple of moves. We've even if it's something as little as getting our own studio set up, or, something as simple as getting our demo, or, working on our voice acting or our acting classes, things like that. Those little things add up.
Definitely. You bring up a good point too. Like back in 2019, what were you doing? Like I was scared to death punching the credit card numbers to buy like my first VO class. That's where I was.
I totally was in that same spot. Totally. Like December of 2019, I was like, oh my God, I had been on a podcast with a friend who told me about the Voice Actor Studio. And he said he was currently training there. And I was like, oh my God, he's like, you should do it. I'm like, no, that's not for me. Maybe. Okay. And then I did it. And I was like, I remember being so nervous at the intro class, heart pounding. Like, I felt like I had a boulder in my throat, talking about throat issues. I was like, almost couldn't breathe. And then, I did the 4-week class and I, stumbling over those first scripts that you have to read and just, cringe. Cringy.
We've come a long way.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Steps have been made and more steps are to come, it's a rolling stone, you just got to keep on moving with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah. Like just listening back to your first auditions.
Oh God.
Have you done that yet?
Thank you.
Oh no, thank you.
No, thank you. But it's probably a good idea to listen back to that stuff to see how far you've gotten or what you could change.
It was bad.
Was it? Oh
no. I was like, what was I thinking?
Oh my God. I stopped editing like ongoing classes that I just couldn't do it anymore. But like, it is probably good, like, it's probably good to learn to listen back to like what you were doing so that you can hear. I will tell you, doing those TikTok challenges, like going back and re-listening to it and thinking, oh yeah, I put too much emphasis on be instead of great, right? I was like, be great. It should have been be great, right? So it's like listening back to your auditions or listening back to your old class tapes. Whatever.
Your likes are growing on that reel, by the way.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
I think we're at 17.
Oh, good. Oh,
it's almost viral. We're going viral.
Baby steps.
We're going. Oh God. Maybe we'll get to 25.
Goals.
Right. But that's like the whole point of starting from the Booth and Beyond podcast is that like we're sharing our experience from the very beginning back in 2019. I'm interested, Lloyd, where were you in 2019? What were you doing?
2019. 2019 because what month did we 2019 I think is 2019 was when I moved back to Vegas because 2020 was when the pandemic began, right? Not 20. Yeah, so 2019 I came back to Vegas in November. Me and my dad drove. How long was that drive? I don't even remember. It was a long drive. We drove from North Dakota, which like bleh, driving through mountain gorges and stuff. I don't like being high up. It's not when there's a sign that's like high winds, be careful. I'm just like, well, I can't see the winds. There's nothing, there's no way for me to tell. Started my job that December, kind of tried to transition into things. And then, the pandemic happened that we're all aware of. So it was really weird because I came into my job at an awkward time to transition because it was like right before like a break. And then we came back from this like break period and everybody go home. And it was like, I can do my job from home. And then, it was like, everybody come back. I was like, I could have just done my job from home though. So it's a whole thing. My first class, which it's crazy to me thinking about this, I guess. Because it's 2022 now. So I'm guessing it would have been, because just over a year. gosh, I can't think. Time is weird and it sucks.
2021?
Yeah, 2021. June, January, February, March, April, May or June of 2021. I took my like intro deal, and then beginner, course. And honestly, it's kind of crazy because I've never actually remembered how I got to the studio. It's kind of like
he's mysteriously like showed up on their doorstep.
It's like like joking but not joking. It's just like a haze of frustration and depression. Because I was
That's all you remember.
That's all you remember.
I was really pissed off. And I was like, God, I don't like this job. And my therapist was like, so when are you going to quit your job? And that was like a really abrupt thing to ask me. But I was sitting there and I was like, what is something that I could do where I would still be using my degree? And honestly, I don't even remember what the other things were that came up in my mind. I don't remember how voice acting came into my mind, except for when I was in college, there was a professor. Her name was Nita Risky. She's great. But she was an English professor when I was in the English major. And by some happenstance, when I switched to communications, she also switched to communications.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So she like had been, teaching me since like my freshman year. And I had this oral interpretation class with her, which really is just like reading stuff out loud, and I sat down and she's like, Lloyd, this semester we're going to bring out the dynamic you. And I'm like, I don't know about that, Nita. I don't think that's going to happen. And I mean, I enjoyed the class and she was really great, but she was someone who always tried to push me to, now I think it's weird because like even when I was a freshman, she was like trying to get me to be in like plays and stuff, but like I never was because I was doing football at the time, and I didn't have the time. And I thought about it a couple times, I just never did. And it's weird now I think, because I haven't talked to her in probably like 2 or 3 years. And I have like this whole thing in my head that I'm gonna like get in contact with her and like randomly invite her to like my Zoom demo reveal.
You should.
You should. That would be awesome. That would be so cool.
Yeah, but it's it's
Lloyd,
crazy.
Your brain is so beautiful. You've just taken us on a journey. You've taken us on this journey that I'm still trying to find where we're at, but I just want
I'm trying to find where we're at.
I just want to interject something really quickly. I realized that with me with details, it was 2020, December of 2020, right?
Yeah, that's
I realized that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like,
cool.
20.
Yeah, I was trying to think that too. I was like, so we did start in 2019 then, really?
No, we
I
started.
was like, you guys have been doing this longer than I thought.
19? No, 2020.
Yeah, it was December 2020, and it was January 2021. We did the 4-week class. Details.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
that
Minor
makes sense.
details.
Well, I mean, it helps though, because Lloyd was, tracking back and it helped us.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay, so you have to invite your professor to your demo.
You should definitely.
Totally should.
So did she mention something about voiceover when
no,
you guys?
she just was really she was just super big on like me, I guess, putting myself out there and like I don't even know how to just showing myself to the world, I guess we'll say.
She must have saw something inside of you, it's like everybody has those types of people that come in and out of their lives to help them, give them little nudges, whether you're open to it or not. And you must have been open to it. I just find it, I also was going to say really quickly, I think it's awesome that you see a therapist. Seriously.
Oh yeah, totally.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we've all talked about therapy before, right? But like, I feel like for men, it's hard for men to stop.
Absolutely.
Accept it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And men of color on top of that, like people of
Yeah.
color in general, but men of color in general too. That just it's a whole nother situation to unpack with
They're
therapy.
so evolved.
It's actually like super very small side note because it'll turn into a whole other story. But I about a year ago, myself and my childhood best friends who I've known since like first and second grade, respectively, Robbie and Glenn, we went to like Applebee's because we just hadn't seen each other. And I was sitting outside of Applebee's. They both kind of showed up at the same time. And I was like, "How are you guys doing?" And they're like, "Oh, doing what?" And I was like, "So we're just gonna start this conversation with lies. That's what we're gonna do, huh?"
Yeah.
None of us are fucking doing well.
Nobody's doing good. I totally get that. And I've said the same thing too. Like, if it would be such a different world if we actually said, when somebody asked you how you're feeling, it would be such a different world if we actually said what we were feeling instead of saying, "Oh, I'm fine. Everything's fine." When it's really not fine. Things are really happening in the back of our heads, or in life in general. So yeah, you're right. You started a conversation with lies.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Frankie, I don't want to leave you out on the 2019 conversation. I mean, 2020.
2020.
Sorry about that, guys. But I want to hear like where you were at, like.
Well, I mean, so in 2020, I was, kind of working and doing a job that I don't particularly like, just like I am now. There are some differences though. But what's interesting is that I work at a pretty big center here in LA for LA LGBT people. And throughout the years, I've seen like all these people leave because they want to pursue other things. And I've seen all those people after they've left sort of thrive and do like amazing things, like just to name like Karamo Brown from Queer Eye. I don't know if you guys
I
have seen
love
that show.
Karamo.
He used to work at the center. He worked
Really?
yes. And he just got he's getting his own show.
Yes, he's taking over from Bori. I'm so excited.
So it's like, so like seeing all these people like thrive and live like their best lives and the life that I would love to have, and just not being able to bring myself to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That has been really hard because it's all me. Like like nobody's saying you can't do. I mean, I'm sure at some point somebody will be like, you can't do that, but it's up to me to be like, fuck you. Like I can totally do that, and I'm going to
absolutely.
do that. But that's not usually how I am. You all know me. You all know me. But yeah, so I was in this place of like, I moved to LA to be an actor, and that didn't happen at that time, and I had every opportunity to make it happen, but again, like you get caught up in this thing of like self-doubt and imposter syndrome and all this other stuff, just all the bullshit. You got caught up in all the bullshit. So I was doing this job, and I started a podcast with a friend of mine, and sort of people were saying, "Oh, you have like such a nice voice, like you should like look into that." So to me, I saw that as like a way of, doing something that was creative, doing something that was kind of like acting, but nobody would see me, nobody would be judging me.
Yeah.
So I looked into it, and I did a lot of research. I mean, if you know me, you know that when I'm interested in something, I will find every detail about it. And I just happened to find Tivas. I happened to find this place that we all know and love. And my first class was meditation class with Melissa Moats, and somebody else. I forgot her name. I'm sorry. But it was so incredible. It was like a couple of people that were incredible voices. I was incredibly nervous, and it was only like 6 or 7 people in the class. But when it was my turn, my voice was like crackling, and I was like, it's my first time. And everybody was like, no way, that's your first time. Oh my God. So I was like so in love with her and like this field. I just found it really interesting. So I signed up for the 4-week class, and it must have been like March, I think, 2021, or February or something. Like it was a couple of months after you, Joss, and Gabby.
And Angela, she was with us too in the 4-week. Yeah.
And Angela. Yeah.
The 3 of us. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I started doing that, but I think through that process, I sort of, discovered why I'm here, like why I moved here. I feel like sometimes you always kind of go back to if you listen to yourself and you allow yourself to be honest, you kind of always go back to what you should be doing,
Mm.
um, which
Yeah.
I think, acting is what I should be doing. I'm just, so incredibly happy now that I'm doing that. So I'm happy in that aspect. I'm unhappy in other aspects. But in that particular aspect, I'm very happy that I've been able to find, the school and the mentor that I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, and Gabby, thank you for sending me, because Gabby sends me sometimes little clips of like
Oh.
acting stuff through Instagram, and they're really inspiring. And sort of keep me going. I haven't been to class in a while because my coach is working. So when I have class consistently, it's very easy to stay in the pocket of
Mm-hmm.
like being inspired. But when you don't have class, it's hard to find that inspiration. So
Yeah.
thank you
You're
for
welcome.
contributing to that, Gabby. I appreciate it.
Life coach Gabby.
Yeah.
They're
She
they're
really is.
awesome clips. Like I can tell that you love it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
But it's a journey, right? Like we've all
Mhm.
started from one place and then, moved, and things have ebbed and flowed. And, it's all been like a journey. Some of us had, set goals that had to be pushed out and, brought back in. And, some of us had to work a little bit harder than others. And some of us like got started a little bit quicker. And, and some of us have changed gears and, but like we've all stuck together. And that's like the fun part of like From the Booth and Beyond, is that we all came together, from the one point of interested in voiceover, and then we've like came together and we've created these friendships as a group and small groups and individuals, and and it's been fun to like watch everybody grow
Mm-hmm.
into a where they want to be.
Definitely. And I love that we all inspire, sorry, Joss, each
No,
other,
good.
and that we all work together. And like the last week, the exercises that you had ready, like prepared for us, Frankie and Joss, were wonderful, and they helped me this week in voiceover.
Agreed. Same.
Totally. I was in
Mm-hmm.
the booth and I was like, what'd you say to myself?
Yeah,
Exactly.
What'd you say?
Same. Same.
same.
And it was
And
Definitely.
go ahead,
I think
Angela.
one of the things I love about this group is, even though we are in different places in our journey, we are all kind of taking similar steps. And whether, some are further along, some are, in a certain area, being able to connect with each other and kind of hold each other's hands while we're moving forward, no matter where we're at in our journeys, is great, especially when we all decided to take the step into voiceover, regardless of where we were in our careers or in our family lives or whatever it was. We all at one point had a light bulb go off in our head that said, okay, voiceover seems like a good deal for me. I'm going to take that step. I'm going to put my credit card in right now.
I know,
Yeah.
it was so
And I'm
scary.
going to make it happen. So I think it's great that we all have those similar moments, even though we are in different journeys, we still have similar moments, and we all can kind of relate on those aspects together.
And it's great to
Definitely.
share like our wins and our highs and
Mhm.
our lows, and things that come up. It's great that I can like be like, hey Gabby, this came up, like this was like a weird audition. And she's like, I got the same one, or I've texted Angela where I'm like, something came up in my life, like radio came back into my life, like what do I do with this, and that was like actually recent, and I'll share with you guys later. But it was like one of those, or like, Frankie, you helped me with micro practices, leading up to the demo, and and Lloyd, like we were taking tons of classes together, and we were messaging each other back and forth, like cheering each other on, even when you were doing listen, watch, learn. From this is my perspective, and it was always great to know that I had a Lloyd, like
Mhm.
listen, watch, learning, with me while I was taking a class. It was always great to know that I could reach out to Angela, you're like, 10, 20 steps ahead of me, and be like, what the hell is this? And
Yeah.
Gabby and I both have done that with you,
Yes.
and
Thank you.
it's
Thank you, Angela.
right. And it's
No,
great.
anytime.
And it's great to have Gabby being like our life coach, sending us these quotes and these like, uplifting messages, you even send it to all of us, as a whole, and Frankie, I have to tell you, like, I just enjoy watching you I mean, I just enjoy watching you really be excited about something, you know, and that's acting. And, you know, and I'm just happy that you're, you know, sharing it with us, you know.
You can see the passion.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And yes, Angela, thank you, because that one time where I had no idea what quality audio was.
High res.
Me either.
High res. I was going insane.
We're all going through we all go through it at one point or another. And you know, I have my own questions, and you know, I have to find people to ask, or I just stumble through it and figure it out, you know. So like it's a good thing that we have a support team to do something like that, because there are people out there who don't have a support team, you know. Like I know there's you know, voiceover artists who just have been doing it on their own, and whether they're making it or not, but you know, they don't have somebody to lean on to ask random questions, or you know, even just to confide in them, like how crazy this client was, or you know, am I doing this for, you know, a good reason? Am I in voiceover for a good reason? Like a lot of people don't have those people to play those ideas off of, or even just to bring us back down to earth. You know, sometimes when we go too far off the ledge and we're like, oh my God, am I doing this? Am I wasting money? You know, and then we have this group where that will be like, yes, you're in the right place. You sound great. You know, you got to remember that there's only one unique you, regardless of how many people are in this talent pool right now. There's only one Frankie. There's only one Joz. There's only one Lloyd. There's only one Gaby. There's only one Angela. You got to remember that stuff. So it's good to have that support system to kind of settle us back down when we're feeling too close to the edge.
Yeah. You know what's,
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, you know, it's so interesting though. It's that when this whole thing started, it was just going to be a practice. Like it was, you know, the idea was to have a practice group, right? Yeah. And then, you know, little by little, we started sort of collecting all these personalities, and we just kind of bonded, you know, and it just turned into something else. I can't tell you when it was or how it happened, but for whatever reason, it just clicked, and we just turned into, from, you know, VO aficionados to like friends. And we started having conversations and talking about, you know, whatever, like depression, or, you know, family, or moving, or big changes, or whatever it was.
Deep pictures, yeah.
Yeah, it just you know, sort of it became like a token.
Deep pictures. I mean, always
I gotta slide it in somewhere. I gotta slide it in. I gotta slide. If you're listening to this podcast,
that's the beauty of it, though. That's the beauty. It turned into like a safe space, like for real, like, and you know, call it therapy or whatever it is. Like sometimes I'm not feeling great, and you know, I come and talk to you guys, and it's like, you know, it's like it's all okay. Like everything's okay. Like things will be okay. So I think that that's kind of like the beauty of like supporting each other through the chaos. But I'm really like thankful to not just that part, but like to be able to witness all of you go through your, like, you know, things like your demos, and you know, Angela just moved, you know, to a different, you know, back home, and like, you know, Lloyd, it's like, you know, doing stuff and is gonna have his demo really soon, and I can't wait to celebrate that. So it's like, it's all of it, and it's just, I feel really honored that I met all of you, and that, you know, I don't know, it's just, I'm really thankful for that.
And I think like we have fun. I know, we have fun. That was all of it too. It was like, hey, wait a second. We're like hanging out and having fun. You know what I'm saying? So like maybe we should record ourselves and see what happens.
You know, was it like the week before last, I was talking to my therapist. Hey, therapy. And they were like, how do you feel like your life has changed since you started doing voiceover stuff? And like, ostensibly, you know, it's like, I still hate my job and I'm going there every day, so I don't know, still a little depressed sometimes, but it was funny. The reason you know what's funny is I keep saying this, and I'm like, someone from my job is gonna eventually
eventually one day they'll hear.
And you might not even work there anymore.
You will not be there.
Well, in my head, I've been like, am I willing to risk them hearing it while I still work there? And I was like, I don't care. Me saying I don't like my job on a podcast doesn't mean they can fire me anywhere.
Right.
Correct.
But the reason this came up was because someone did something at my job that made me very mad. And I was like voicing my grievances to my therapist about this. And that's when they asked me, you know, how I felt my life had changed. And my takeaway was that, like, this is the first time where I've been doing something not because I have a skill set that can make me money, and, you know, because like people do stuff like just for money, and it doesn't work out. I mean, heck, aside from coming home to be with family, that's why I'm in the job I'm in now, regardless of whether or not I'm, you know, able to do it.
Right.
And so like voice acting is something I enjoy, and I believe I can make more money than I do already. So, you know, that's a whole other thing, but
it's a journey.
But they're like, I feel like this is such a weird thing to say because I don't agree with it. And I told them this yesterday, but they were like, I feel like to some degree, your self-esteem has improved because you being mad at this person in the way that you are is an indicator of the fact that you think you deserve better than what they're giving you.
Absolutely.
And like, I agree with that, but also I was like, I don't necessarily know if that's the entire thing or if it's just me being fed up. I think I could just be fed up, and like, because I mean, everybody knows, you know, your boy struggles with self-worth.
Sure.
And you know, freak out.
But I think at a certain point when you are fed up, you realize that there's something more out there than what's happening in your life right now. So yeah, I think your therapist is on the nose with that idea that, you know, you believe that there's something better out there than the crap that you're dealing with.
Right.
You know?
And that's part of the reason why we started the podcast, From the Booth and Beyond, was because, like, you know, there's a lot of podcasts out there that talk about, you know, current, you know, voiceovers that have current professional, you know, paid. They're, you know, they're much farther along in their voiceover career, correct? Okay, so that took me a minute to get out. But like, it's neat that we're starting from the very beginning. You know what I'm saying? And we're sharing like all the trials and tribulations from the training and the demo and all, like Frankie was talking about, like all the different things, the life shit that happens, you know, in and outside of the in and outside of the booth. You know, and sometimes it gets lonely in the booth, and sometimes it's lonely out there in life, you know. But when you have Lloyd, but I think at the end of the day, I think where we're all at right now is if the sun did blow up 7 minutes ago, I think we could all say that we're pretty happy with where we're at and how we're moving forward, one foot in front of the other. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect or that every day is awesome. You know, it's we still have our struggles, right? We still have chaos, but like, I feel happier knowing you guys and being a part of something, and also with voiceover, you know, just me personally.
Definitely.
I heart you guys.
I heart you too.
We heart you. And I also heart the fact that you just nonchalantly were like, if the sun blew up 7 minutes ago. In my head, I was like, is that our thing now?
Your thing. That's your thing, Lloyd. I'm gonna try and not think of the world frozen.
It actually made my heart sink. Like I was walking the other